Hello Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for the Cuckoo's Fiancee, or A Couple of Cuckoos, chapter 123. When we last left our heroes, Erika was putting in one final push to try to take number one on the midterms, and then they all got the midterms back and she did not do that. But most of the chapter focused on the fact that Nagi won. Hiro got second, and so they meet on the roof to discuss this whole dating thing. They're both very awkward, as is their way, as far as this is concerned. They try to come up with like some cutesy nicknames, and they get a little embarrassed, though Hiro, more than Nagi, is able to sort of collect herself and continue her sort of teasing ways. And then we end not on the whole they're dating now, but on this really interesting scene of Erika realizing that actually all of her studying, despite the fact that she is lower ranked than she's been in the past, she is first place in math. Which, given that weird scene we had a couple weeks ago about, you know, her being a little happy that, like, learning that Nagi's favorite subject is math, it's all very interesting. I'll see where exactly Yoshikawa is going with that. So let's dive right on into the 123rd foul, I don't know, which I believe is meant to be a slurred version of I don't know, though we'll find out with more certainty when we get to that point in the chapter. Our picture here is Nagi jumping with, like, a flag in his hand. At last, Nagi and Hiro start going out. How will everyone else react? Right, it's like it was a weirdly low-key affair last week, given that the harem protagonist got a girlfriend. So I don't know. I don't know where exactly Yoshikawa is going with this. And we open with Ai, who's got like a notepad and a recorder. I will now commence the interview. And Nagi's sitting there, uncomfortable. Yes, ma'am. You now have, for the first time, a so-called girlfriend. Once again, I is very sort of taking over the word choice here. The so-called girlfriend is very I. It's just a very I move. How do you feel right now? Nagi isn't actually sitting. It looks like he was like going down to like get breakfast or go to school, and he's been like held captive by I here. And he just mutters, happy? I guess? Which, you know, for all you can say, oh, harem protagonist, even when he has a girlfriend, he still is so wishy-washy. This is sort of following up on a lot of, like, the questions he and Hiro have been having for the past several chapters about how exactly they feel about each other. But I is not here for it. More concretely, my feet feel lighter. Like they're going to fly away. Up into the sky, even. Or, you know, I'm trying to merge that with what I said a second ago about, like, the lack of certainty. Because he does seem to know in detail how he feels, but it looks like he's struggling to simplify it. Which is a sign that he's kind of into her, I think is how we need to read that. But I is not on board with that definition. And Nagi freaks out. Eep! Well then, would you mind talking about how you'd like to progress from here? Sure. I know it's not getting ready for school. It's that same day. Why does this happen as soon as I get home? And Nagi sort of like scratches his head. To be honest, it still doesn't really feel real to me, so I don't really know, I guess. And her eyes kind of are shadowed and in response to that. For once, she's not like psychoanalyzing Nagi. She's looking at her own emotions. This is jealousy. And Nagi reacts, outrageous. I can feel a new song coming on. She like leaves the interview to go write. Was all of that just so you could write a song? I still, or no, this is Sachi's line. Because Sachi's come in, returned from her stay at the Seigawa Shrine. Why don't you just ride that high horse of yours while you're at it? You're going to break up soon anyway. Which is quite a thing to say. Like, at a certain point, she's just being mean for, like, not a real reason. But anyway, Nagi responds, Sachi, you came back? Only just now. Did you remember to say thank you to Seigawa-san on your way out? And her parents, too. And Sachi just tells him, I did, okay? You're so nosy. But Nagi comments, maybe I should go thank her in person as well. You? Why? And Nagi gets a little bit embarrassed to, like, admit it. I mean, she's my girlfriend? It's just this reaction is just real cute. That's my response. But Sachi just yells, oh, shut up! You're so gross! I hate you. Kasachi's gonna Sachi, and she's not gonna work through her feelings and move on from her brother crush. But Nagi just sort of jolts at the insult and thinks, this is way too awkward, and then mutters, come to think of it, how's Amano-san doing? And then he goes up to her room, and he is about to knock, and he pauses for a minute and thinks back to what Erika said while they were studying. You liked Hiro-chan all this time and worked hard for this after all, so I'm rooting for you. And then another flashback, we might be fiancés. We're reporting every little detail back to me. Could you be any more conceited? I don't think this is this arc. I think this is more of a further flashback, I think. But all of these memories make Nagi hesitate before telling Erika. And then Erika slams her door open. Hey, so Nagi-kun, not aware that Nagi's right there, hits him right in the head. She sort of apologizes. Huh? What? You were there? Sorry. And Nagi holds his head. I had something I wanted to tell you. It's about Hiro-chan, isn't it? It's fine, I get it already. Because, yeah, she's aware, I guess, that we don't need that conversation from her. Or she doesn't need, the update from Nagi. In part because she knows, and also I think in part she doesn't really want to have this conversation. But Nagi just looks at her, huh? Not quite expecting her brushing off that whole conversation topic. But more importantly, I did it too. And she shows him her report card. How do you like that? And we zoom in on the math scores, first place. Stunning, Nagi. First place? The comprehensive score was, well, but I still got first place, just like I said I would. And Nagi is just stunned at Erika's math skills. Wait a minute. You were the one who got first in math? I was only second, so I was wondering who was first, and Erika has earned this gloating, I think, with how much she's improved in a short amount of time. She has earned the gloat. Well, I guess I can do it if I just try. But Nagi's fallen to his knees, clutching the wall, and Erika just teases, you still with me over there? And Nagi turns to her with murder in his eyes. How did you solve the last question? Excuse me? It was an expanded question from the infamous entrance exam of a national university. It goes without saying we haven't even touched on it in class yet. Not even in the textbooks. Just in the margins of some prep books, In the first place, who had time to come up with questions like that? Whichever teacher made this test is just plain cruel. And he gets all of that outburst out of his system, just stands there huffing. And Erika just comments, you sure have a lot to say. For starters, I just studied math by concentrating on it. I started by reviewing stuff from middle school, and for the remaining week I got to working on what would be on the test. There were some questions on the pre-books that I just couldn't wrap my head around, so I just memorized the answers. And so only the numbers are different, but the problem is the same, right? Okay. That's some I don't know, I'm always shocked at some of the advancedness of these math tests you see in anime sometimes, because that is not the stuff I was doing in high school, and I was in fairly advanced classes. I don't know what the fuck that is. I just don't know. But honestly, that kind of ties back to, we had a little in the anime just adapted recently, the makeup test arc, right? And how Nagi's at a certain point you just have to memorize these things. The makeup test is all is all stuff that's already on the first test, just memorize. And she kind of used that same concept to get first here. And Nagi is just, downtrodden. So the truth of this world is memorization? What about intellectualism? And he's banging on the wall as Erika just comments, and back into the abyss he goes. And Nagi finally comes back to himself and admits, you beat me. The results speak for themselves. The numbers don't lie. And Erika is about to gloat some more. And then Nagi stops her. Could you tell me just one thing? Why did you work so hard for this? Which, that's a question that's sort of been danced around, but, the only answer she's given is to spew chaos or something, which doesn't quite feel right. So maybe we'll get another answer here. Well, that's because... And then she can't bring herself to say it. Or she can, or like she doesn't, I think she doesn't know, or she can't bring herself to say it, because she just blushes. The fact that we learned a couple of chapters ago that math was Nagi's favorite subject, and this scene here, that she got first in math, it's all tied up into her feelings for Nagi. It's one of those Erika scenes, like so many of the Erika scenes in this arc, that feel like it's predicated on the last arc not happening. Because, like, we should be past this point. She has addressed her feelings for Nagi before. So the fact that she can't bring herself to say it is a little weird. I don't know. Because her response is the title line. I know. You what? And then we cut to the next day. Nagi's in class. School is starting, and he thinks to himself, I got a girlfriend. That being said, nothing has really changed. Should I go and tell somebody about it? And we see Shion in the distance. When you have PE for first and second period, you get hungry faster, right? By third period, my stomach's already rumbling. The Icarus gang, Salome, she has a stream tonight. I absolutely cannot wait. Just talking about, like, their VTubers. And Nagi's like, nope, I cannot fucking talk to them. We hear, like, a buzz from his pocket. It's a text from Hiro saying, want to eat lunch together? And then we cut to lunch. They're outside. As Hiro comes up to Nagi, sorry to keep you waiting. Yeah. Look what I've got. I made lunch for us, and she's brought like a tiered bento box for both of them. Nagi's just, huh? Feast your eyes on this. A tiered lunchbox? I might have gone and made a bit too much. But Nagi, he's just gung-ho to have Segawa-san's home cooking. And Nagi asked her, do you mind if I try some? Of course not. But I guess doing this every day is kind of out of the question. Nagi and they both sort of give their little thanks for the food, and they start eating this closest thing to a first official date they have. And he shoots her a thumbs up. That's great. And Hiro has like full-on shoujo bubbles behind her. Wonderful. But there's a little bit of, she has a little something on her cheek. And Nagi tells her, Segawa-san, you have rice over here. Huh? And she grabs, like, touches the other side of her face. The other side. Well then, Nagi Poyo, bringing back the cheesy nickname from last week. Huh? Get it for me. Which is, it's like a typical romantic gesture in Japan, as I recall. And now that he's the boyfriend, that's sort of what he can do. Right. And she, like, holds her face out so we can grab the rice. I've never seen her like this before. So defenseless. And his eyes happen to, like, glance at her lips. Her lips look so soft. And he grabs the rice as Hiro, and this is the closest thing to a money shot we have so far, just tells him, I thought you might kiss me. Almost a little disappointed that he didn't. And Nagi's left wondering, should I have? And then we cut to that night, where Erika's lying in bed. Jeez, even though I got first in math, I forgot to ask Nagi-kun about what happens next. Yeah, you weren't really part of any deal here, Erika. Not sure what you thought would happen next. But just then, she gets a ping on her phone. She looks at it, and it's a text from Hiro. Can you talk right now? And she looks at it, Hiro-chan? What for? And Erika asks, what's up? And Hiro responds, I wanted to tell you thanks for everything. Nagi and Hiro, seeing those two become a couple, what does the sidelined fiancé think? Okay, so I feel like there's not that much here beyond just sort of everyone getting on the same... Until the date scene, which I'll talk about in a minute, and there's really not much there either. It's just sort of everyone getting on the same page as to what's been going on in the past chapter or two. Nagi tells Ai and Sachi a little bit about what happened at the end of the bet. Sachi kind of already knew because she was with Hiro. And Sachi's not happy, but I don't really care about Sachi, so who gives a damn? And like it's my thoughts on all of this chapter kind of are that like they're all like fine scenes, but like none of these scenes are either like that sweet and that like furthering of any kind of development or funny enough to really make this chapter stand out. My overall thoughts on this chapter is that it's just kind of there. It's not bad by any stretch of the definition, even if where exactly Erika is in her headspace is never clear, because, I don't know, I mean, part of it is my continued frustration with just how the yacht chapter was translated, because I can't help feeling like there's something there that the translation didn't cover, that like a huge turn in their dynamic, or a definitive reset in their dynamic that like informs all of this, but I just couldn't make out what the fuck they were saying because the translation was just so weird in that chapter. None of it quite seemed, no one seemed to be having the same conversation as I recall. And so any Erika scene right now is sort of marred by that confusion. Also, Soichiro makes everything weird, and so who knows what the fuck is going on whenever he's involved. So my Erika complaints is the same as my Erika complaint all chapter. I just don't really know where she is right now. Though for whatever reason she feels uncomfortable telling Nagi why she tried so hard. If she knows. A little bit unclear if that, I don't know, is just a deflection or if she genuinely doesn't know, but the blush makes me think that like she does, and she just won't say. And then we have the date scene, and it's cute, I guess, but it's a lot, like, you know, comparing it to their rooftop scene last week, which makes being cute and funny, this is just kind of cute, but not really, and that's just sort of, like, it's fine, it's not the worst thing in the world, it's not a Stachi chapter or nothing, but, like, you know, that's sort of my thoughts on the overall chapter. It's fine, not a whole lot to say about it. The blurb makes me excited for next week's chapter. We'll focus on how Erika is dealing with, you know, the guy she likes being with someone else. I hope that next chapter sort of takes all of my confusion as to where Erika is right now and really clarifies it. Because I think that's what the story needs. You know, there's other problems too. You can get rid of Sachi's whole character for all I care. But what it really needs is just some clarification as to what is going on with Erika right now, because that's just what I think we all kind of need to know. So with that said, I'm going to leave this video off here. Hope you'll enjoy the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe, or, you know, do whatever makes you happy, you know? And as always, your life is your own, okay? Bye!